In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most gracious. I am your course instructor Adiba Muzammil, and today we are going to start chapter 16, Support and Locomotion. So here we are gonna have the endoskeleton of the human body that consists of different bones which are covered by soft skin or the flesh. So if we talk about the skeleton, it is basically the framework which supports the body and it allows the movements and help the body to maintain its erect position. The human endoskeleton is primarily made up of two types of tissues. One is bone and the other one is cartilage. Bone is a hard connective tissue, whereas the cartilage is softer, elastic, and it is flexible than the bone. Both bones and cartilage are the types of rigid connective tissue, and both consist of living cells which are embedded in the matrix of a protein called collagen. Now if we talk about the osteology, it is the study of the bones and the cartilage, and an individual bone has a variety of tissues which may include bone tissue, cartilage, fibrous connective tissue, blood and the nerve tissue. These all we will discuss one by one as we move forward. Parts of a bone. First of all, I am going to show you the structure of a bone in the diagram. Then we will discuss its parts. So a bone has two edges which are broad. The upper broad part is called epiphysis or upper end epiphysis. It basically contains the spongy part of the brain, which is highly porous. Then comes the middle part of the bone, which is called diaphysis or shaft, and it is the compact part of the bone, and it is also called as cortex. Now the middle part of the bone is surrounded, not only the middle part but also the upper part is surrounded by a layer, or you can say the outer connective tissue, that is called periosteum. In the middle part, the compact bone is present, which is surrounded by an inner connective tissue which is called endosteum, and within the endosteum a cavity is present that contains the bone marrow or the yellow bone marrow. So the epiphysis is the terminal broad parts of the bone. Diaphysis is the middle part along the length of the bone, which also contains a certain cavity. Periosteum is the outer connective tissue. Endosteum is the inner connective tissue. Compact bone is the dense, strong peripheral part and provides an attachment site for a muscle. The spongy bone is lighter and it is rich in blood vessels, which is highly porous. Most of the spongy bone is present in the epiphysis, as you have already seen in the diagram. And the red bone marrow is also found in the spaces of the spongy bone which are present in the epiphysis part. The spongy bone has an unorganized appearance. Now, the types of the bone cells. There are three different types of the bone cells, and their names are osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclasts, respectively. As you can see in the slide, osteoblasts are the bone forming cells, osteocytes are the bone maturing cells, and osteoclasts are the bone destroying cells. Now, how the formation of a bone occurs? In the early development, when the bone is replacing the cartilage, the osteoclasts invade and dissolve the cartilage. Osteoblasts replace it with the bone. This is the bone maturing phenomena, and as the bones grow, the matrix of the bone is hardened and the osteoblasts are gradually entrapped. This is finally when the bone has become matured. Now, the osteoblasts, these are bone forming cells and they synthesize and secrete unmineralized ground substance. Once the osteoblasts are surrounded by matrix, they become the osteocytes and they also invade in the osteocytes formation. Now, the second type of the bone cells are the osteocytes. They are surrounded by a matrix and they become the osteocytes. They maintain a healthy bone tissue by secreting enzymes and influencing bone mineral content. And they also regulate the calcium release from bone tissue into the blood. Finally, the osteoclasts perform two functions. One is bone reabsorption and the other is growth and repair of the bone. Bone reabsorption is the breakdown of the bone and deposition of calcium and phosphate in the bone, in the blood, sorry. You can see different types of bone cells in the diagram which are very clear and their structures are clearly shown in the diagram. Osteogenic cell, the stem cell, osteoblast which forms bone matrix, osteocytes which maintains bone tissue, and osteoclast which reabsorbs the bone. The second type of the tissue which comprises the skeleton is cartilage. As I have already told, cartilage is much softer and elastic and flexible than the bone. It is also a type of the connective tissue but less hard. Now, the living cells of the cartilage, they are called chondrocytes, and you have discussed that living cells or the cells of the bone are called osteoblasts, osteocytes, and osteoclasts respectively. Now, you may have a comparison while we talk about the cartilage with that of the bone. The cartilage cells, they secrete flexible, elastic, and non-living matrix of the collagen that surrounds the chondrocytes. And there are no blood vessels that penetrates into the cartilage. Unlike other connective tissues, only diffusion occurs for the transport of materials through the cartilage so that it heals very slowly because there is no blood supply from the outside. Bone marrow is not present in the cartilage. Although the human skeleton is initially made up of the cartilages and fibrous membranes, most of these early supports are soon replaced by the bones because only the cartilage was not sufficient to support a human body. A few cartilages that remains in the adults are of three different types. You can have a comparison of the three different types of cartilage in the diagram. First one is hyaline cartilage, second is fibrocartilage, and third is elastic cartilage. The diagrams here are very much obvious and very clear, which can differentiate in between all three types of the cartilages. First is hyaline cartilage, that is most abundant type of the cartilage in human body. It is mostly found into the movable joints and it is found at the ends of the long bones and in the nose at larynx and trachea. The second type of cartilage is fibrocartilage. This type of cartilage has a matrix that contains bundle of collagen fibers. You can see the densely layered collagen fibers. These are basically the bands which are shown by a purple color, lighter tone. Now, the fibrocartilage also contains the organized rows of the flattened cells, which is also clear in the diagram. The fibrocartilage is mostly found in the discs located between the vertebrae and the cartilages of the knee. The last one is the elastic cartilage, and it forms the external pinnae that are the flaps of the ears and the epiglottis, which was also a flap-like structure that covers the glottis. Now there is a comparison between bone and the cartilage. If we talk about the features, first we will talk about the collagen, that is a protein which is densely packed in the bone and loosely packed in the cartilage. Cell types of the bone are osteoblast, osteoclast and osteocytes, whereas the cells of the cartilage are called chondrocytes. Blood vessels are present in the bone and absent in the cartilage. Minerals are deposited in the bone and these are calcium carbonates and phosphates. No deposition of the minerals in the cartilage. And the external covering. Bone is covered by periosteum and the cartilage is covered by perichondrium. Thank you so much. This was all for today.